Thank you very much, Phil Hesketh, for joining me here today. Your session is the rules for discounting and holding high prices. So can you tell us a bit about those rules for holding high prices?
Well, for sure, number one rule is you've got to have a reason if you're going to discount. So that's the number one rule. If you're going to discount, have a reason. And what I covered in the session was how if you don't have a reason, people think, well, you were trying it on at that first price and maybe there's more to come. And there's lots of things happen if you discount and you don't have a reason.
Yes. So for estate agents, what do you think could potentially be a valid reason for negotiating on fee?
Well, for example, if you say, well, our fee is 2% and someone else is 1%, it's very easy to say, are you comparing like for like? And they'll just say, yes, we are. What you've got to do is say, are we comparing absolutely, completely and totally in every respect, like for like? And get them to try and explain the difference and get the potential vendor to say, well, actually, and when they use the word actually, it usually means they're then going to give you the reasons why they want to use you.
Brilliant. And when you're going into a pitch or a negotiation, do you have any key techniques for an individual to use to get the most out of that?
Yeah, I think the three key questions always are, first of all, what is the most important thing to you about? So what is the most important thing to you about this house sale? What is the most important thing about renting your property, whatever it is? And find out just how important that is, because that's the reason they pay the premium. And then the second question is always, and what are your expectations exactly? So what are your expectations of us as a business, as a firm? What are your expectations? Is speed really important? What do you expect of us? Then the third question, we do one of two things. You always say what's the most important thing, what are your expectations? Then you do one of two things. You either say, hypothetically, if I were able to do all those things that are important, and if I were able to meet all your expectations, would there be anything else you need to consider? And if the answer is no, we say, okay, well, shall we go ahead at the fee we've already discussed? Or if they say, well, yes, I'd like to know more about, well, okay, we discuss that, but you can't get a rejection. Or you say, what is the most important thing to you about the service? What are your expectations exactly? And then you use what I call a magic word. And the magic word is the word given. Right. So, well, given what you've said, and given how important that is, and given our expectations, our fee is. And it sounds like it's a personalised fee to you that people have really thought about.
So would that be your top tip for getting to that closing point, using the word given? Yes,
because if you just say, well, our fee is 2%, our fee is 10%, our fee is £10,000, even worse than that, if you say, well, typically we charge, normally we charge, well, it sounds as though I'm not normal and I'm not typical. But you say, well, given what you've said, our fee is, it sounds like it's a bespoke offer to them.
In your presentation, you talk about the compromise effect. Would you be able to give me a bit more information on that?
Yeah, this is not Phil Hesketh's theory. You can Google the compromise effect, and effectively, you always typically have good, better, best in any market. And if you have two products, let's say A and B, and one is £30 and one is £50, no matter what the relationship of the sales is between those two £30, £50 products, if you introduce a £100 product, you will sell more of the £50 product. Because people compromise. People typically choose the middle option. So it's useful to have a more expensive product just so people are more likely to buy the second product. And we can do it with 4 products as well. So you have a gold, silver, bronze, or a platinum, gold, silver, bronze. You have 3 or 4 products. And the role of the most expensive product is people compromise and spend a bit more money on the middle product.
Right. And in your opinion, in a negotiation conversation, what do you think is the most important thing to get right?
I think the most important thing is to distinguish between negotiation and discount.
Right.
And negotiating and haggling. Because quite often people say, is there any room for negotiation? And actually they don't mean negotiation at all. They mean, will you discount?
Yeah.
Let's haggle about the price. So I think it's the most important thing. And then the second thing is to use expressions like, I can't do that, but what I can do is. And it forces you into truly negotiating. I can't give you that price, but what I can do is if you were to. So expressions like, I can't do that, but what I can do is, or if I were to, or if you were able, I might be, and so on. So it's using expressions like that that kind of force you into the field of negotiation rather than just discounting.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Phil.
Pleasure.